Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
For someone that skateboards, he doesn't look like he's someone that's very comfortable skateboarding. Like I know he didn't learn how to skateboard because he apparently did skate, but he didn't look like someone that did. But I guess to be fair, they would have been really shitty to ride. There's got like basically roller skates, bottom pieces, narrow, all that stuff, right? But one thing that did come out of that movie was that piece that got attached to the tail of the board to make all those sparks. That became popular for a little while. So, but and that whole scene of them being chased is just basically reenacting what he did earlier on in the movie when he went by the aerobic studio and waved to everybody that was in there, which they go by 3 times.
Yeah,
it's only a small set.
Doing circles around the set. Yeah.
So then, they end up doing similar, driving by the diner, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at that!" Basically mimicking the exact same thing, right? The fact that they're on a car and they're just driving through the town, like, does it ever show police throughout this entire film at any point? Like, these are high school kids running over hedges and like just destroying like the landscape and everything for a place that's so perfect, right?
Yeah.
And there was that whole scene there where it shows Michael J. Fox being hit from the car. Biff's car comes up and smashes into Marty. If you look at the board's all of a sudden now flipped around, so the tail's at the back end now. If you look closely, it's actually Walter Scott, the guy that was driving the Jeep. He's the stunt guy driving the car. So when they first come over go through that last hedge and they bounce onto the road, it's Walter Scott driving.
It's him again.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 99% sure that that's him. It's definitely not Biff.
Yeah.
So then you get the whole scene you're going through, and then you can see that there's a car coming up, or whatever it was that they see in their field of vision, and he jumps up and over. You get that great music going on. You would think that these are supposed to be the badasses in town. Instead of cowering away from him as he's running through the car, someone would just hit him,
grab him, trip him,
yeah,
anything. I laughed at that.
Yeah, it's such a good scene, and then all of a sudden, obviously they see the truck of manure and go shit and crank the wheel, and there's 4 different guys in the car right when the car slides. But I mean, no one's looking at the guys. I just noticed it again in past times watching it. But when you're first watching it, you're just looking at that truck full of manure and hitting it, right? So there's it's almost an iconic scene because during the UK premiere for this movie, Prince Charles and Princess Diana came to it, and Michael J. Fox actually sat beside Princess Diana for the film. And I guess whenever the car hits, she actually bursts out laughing and goes, "Oh." Not something that you would expect from one of the royals, but I just thought that was a cool little thing. And the funny thing cool. Of that whole thing while he's sitting there, he had to pee and he had to suck it up because there was certain protocols with the royals, right? So you can't talk to them unless they talk to you. You can't touch them, and you can't ever turn your back to them. So he's like, I couldn't get up and go to the bathroom. I just suck it up. He said it was the worst experience I've ever had, but I sat beside Princess Diana, so it was the best experience I've ever had, right? So I thought that was a cool little moment or whatever. So just a little side note for the truck full of shit. So, drawing a blank on what happened after that. Like, he goes and gives the kid back his board, and he's like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Oh.
and skateboarding begins.
Yeah. So you can attribute it. Skateboarding didn't start in the '80s in California. It was 1955 in California. So, yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. No, I'm really drawing a blank on what happened after that.
Yeah, I can't remember now, which is dumb because I just watched it. Is that now? Doesn't he go and find George up in the tree, spying on his mom?
Oh, you know what? I got my timelines all wrong. All that stuff doesn't happen yet. Like all the stuff
Oh,
that I just said. That's later on whenever he gets George to go and ask Lorraine out.
right.
Oh
Yeah, we
man,
we did skip ahead.
yeah, that's awkward. Oh, might have to do some editing after this.
Yeah,
Um, you're right. So then after let's go back to George meeting his dad. You're right. That's whenever George goes and finds has to go running after his dad and he can't find him. Comes around the corner. He's like, "Where'd he go?" And here's the bike. And all of a sudden he looks up and he can see his dad straddled across this long limb of a tree, or in the tree, and he's scoping out a girl that's changing in the window, who's conveniently changing down to nothing right beside her window. Then calls him a peeping tom, all this stuff, and then falls out of the tree, pushes him out of the way, and he gets hit by this car that comes racing up. And I remember in the theater going, "Oh, that really hurt." That wasn't what happened in the movie. Sorry, I just pulled a hamstring, pulled a hammy
Uh-oh.
sitting here. Um, definitely cutting this stuff out. I'll have to put this in for the bloopers. Pulling a hamstring while you're seated. Oh man, where were we? Fucking hell. Okay, so he ends up pushing his dad out of the way. Sorry. What I thought of in the theater at the time was that like how forceful his head hits the asphalt.
yeah, it does smack pretty hard.
Yeah. So I mean, like obviously as a kid you're thinking it's asphalt. Like as an adult, you know that's gonna be rubberized or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
but just the force that his head hits, like the only thing that I could think of that was that violent was Tydomi's hit on Scott Niedermeyer back in '01. So maybe that would have been the most. Sorry, we're not supposed to bring sports into this like the other guys do. But anyway, so yeah, so I mean he gets hit. So and here was the other part that I didn't really understand with how fast the car was going, and then as soon as he stands up and he calls for his wife, says, "Another one of these damn kids jump in front of my car!" Like it's 90 degrees to where they are. Like where were you going? Were you just driving right by your own house? Like you should have been slowing down anyways. Like it shouldn't have been that big of a hit, really. But
yeah. Unless he was planning on drifting into the driveway, it didn't really make sense why he was going so quick.
no. But again, it's supposed to be movie magic. But all they would have had to do is have him look off on a 45 and talk that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
small little things. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, I guess. It's something that pops in my head. Like, how fast were you going? Like, why? So, and then in the next scene, it's dark. Marty's lying in the bed. He can hear his mom. He's like, "I had this bad dream. You know, I was in the past." And then she says, "Well, you're safe and sound here in 1955." And he jumps up. What I want to know is, why does she have the voice of his mother from 1985? And then all of a sudden, light comes on, and her voice goes back to sweet. But
Yeah,
it was all kind of gravelly and raspy a second ago. Like,
she was just hacking some darts earlier. Yeah, that was weird. But I guess maybe that was like he's still kind of KO'd from getting hit, and maybe he's hearing it
that's
differently.
true. That's true. I I never really thought of it that way. I guess I was just listening to it. Like for me listening to it, like, does the light have something to do with her voice? Like lights out, and I'm like, ugh. Like you said, sounds like she's pounded back a pack of darts or something. So yeah. Well, but then yeah, and then jumping forward, or not jumping forward, but sitting up and like, why are his pants off? He hit his head. But I mean, I guess that was, you have later on in the scene find out that she's the one that took his pants off, obviously, because as soon as the mother calls, she goes, "Oh my God, it's my mother. Put your pants back on." Why were they off?
Now you start putting this all together, and the McFly family are a bunch of creeps. You got a peeping Tom, and then someone who's undressing somebody who's knocked out.
Yeah, so they sound like the perfect couple that they should be together, really.
Yeah,
Oh.
true enough.
Yeah, and it's funny the way how at the beginning of the movie where she doesn't like the fact that Jennifer's calling him and says, when I was that age, I never called a boy, I never sat in a parked car with a boy, and
Yeah.
the daughter's like, how am I ever supposed to meet anybody? She's got a ton of energy, that one. Yeah, and then you fast forward to this point in the movie, and she's like the exact opposite of what she is in 1985, right? So, but the dad changed. Apparently, he just there.
Oh, that laugh is so creepy.
It is. It's basically a classic laugh now. It's like any nerds have that.
Yeah, awkward.
Well, yeah. So again, perfect person for it. Perfect way how he played everything. Like you couldn't have asked for it to be any better, really.
No, definitely not.
Slick back hair, all that stuff. So, so then he gets to come downstairs. Sorry, get back on track here. He comes back downstairs, gets to meet his grandparents, his uncles and aunts, his kids. They get the dad finally gets the TV rolling, and they bring it up so they can watch TV. It's Jackie Gleason. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this one." He goes, "What do you mean you've seen this one? It's brand new."
Yeah.
So that was something that I never understood. So after he says brand new, he says, "Well, I saw it in a rerun." Why would the kids say it's brand new? You know what I mean?
That's weird.
So
Unless it was like once a week, right? Like how the shows used to be, you'd get a brand new episode once a week back then. Maybe I'm not sure, but that's what I always had attributed it to. That this was it's Friday night or whatever night it was, and this is the new episode of this show.
yeah, I guess it was just because he said rerun afterwards, and in my mind I was thinking, well, if you're saying it's a rerun, it's brand new. Like, do you guys have reruns in 1955? Which they don't. So, but yeah, I guess since you put it like that it just came out today, and you never get to see it again, which is how it was back then, right? If you missed
right.
it, you missed it.
Everything was in front of a live studio audience, right?
Yeah. So, and then I love the fact they said, "You look really." Sorry, this is Lorraine's mom. "You look really familiar. Do I know your mom?" And he's got that creepy look. He's like, "Yeah, I think you do." Well, God, everything about this movie was great. It was such a good script. Sorry. Reminiscing about myself over here now.
Yeah, that's okay. It was, you're 100% right.
Yeah, it's funny. So as a kid, I didn't think it was as creepy as I do now. The fact that, like you were saying before, but the mom and the dad, I was just a time traveler. Deal with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I like when he says, he asked the dad, "Do you know where 1640 Riverside Drive is?" He's like, "Oh yeah, that's a block past Maple." He's like, "Block past Maple? That's John F. Kennedy Drive." And Dad's like, "Who the hell is John F. Kennedy?" Because it hasn't happened for another 10 years, right? So, like, there's lots of like little small scenes like that. That's again, someone watching it now might not get that. Although I think they probably still should, but yeah. And then he just decides to hop up and leave after his mom puts her hand on his upper thigh. Well, yeah, and then ends up going down to Riverside Drive so he can go and talk to the doc. So yeah, so the whole big mansion there, it already looks like it's dilapidated. Like the balcony, it looks like there's like extra wooden structures just holding it upright. But then the garage looks like it's brand new. Like it looks like it's got like nice thick doors on it, whatever. So I like the fact that he, again, another one of his failed experiments with this great big thing. He finally opens up, talks to him, and you think that after he tells him, I came here in a time machine you built, and I need to get back to the year 1985. And then the look on Doc Brown's face, and he says, do you know what this means? That this damn thing doesn't work. He's trying to guess what he's reading his mind so he can figure out what he's like. Again, don't stand in front of the DeLorean. Well, but yeah, and then he tells him the story that he told him earlier about how he came up with the flux capacitor, and that was all of a sudden the door opens up. And, yeah, or the fact that earlier on when he says, "Okay, future boy, if you're from 1985, who's the president of the United States?" Yeah. Ronald Reagan, the actor, and he just runs away.
I love that part.
Yeah.
It was another little, perfect little nod to the time that we were in, and then also making fun of it because Ronald Reagan was obviously an actor back then.
Yeah, and I believe he was current president at the time that the movie came out.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's in one of his addresses afterwards, he actually says, "Where we're going, we don't need roads," which is the tagline from the movie.
Yeah.
Which is funny because no, you do need roads.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then he comes in, he gets to see all this stuff. He's got the big Panasonic camera that he was recording from earlier. I'm not sure how they would have hooked it up to the TV from the 50s, but
yeah,
we'll just let that one slide. I know how much of a pain in the ass it is trying to get something to hook up to an older TV now.
Yeah,
like, I don't have that cable. What the hell am I supposed to do? So there was something funny though. Those old Panasonic cameras, you couldn't just hit the button and walk away and let it fast forward. You had to hold it.
Yeah.
But they were doing it. They were hitting the button and just letting it go, and then it was just bad editing, I think, maybe, that they would stop it and his finger was still going up to the button. So, small little things, right? But and the fact that he picks up and goes, "Wow, a small portable studio. No wonder your president has to be an actor." Like,
yeah.
Sure, that's the reason why.
Perfect. Great line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then just going through all the stuff with finding out that he needs 1.21 gigawatts, and then he freaks out and just loses his shit. So, and yeah, just.
And that's where we get the connection, right, to the time with the bolt of lightning, and everything all comes full circle now. Yeah, it's another brilliant, like, it all comes back around to everything that happened in the time that he needs to get there. It's just genius writing.
It is actually, yeah. You're 100% right. It's you're right. It's that line there where, like, I'm sure buying plutonium in 1985, you can just go to the corner drugstore, but in 1955, it's a little hard to come by.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's still just as hard in 1985, but and then the line, which is just perfectly timed, obviously, was like, the only thing that can generate that much power would be a bolt of lightning. What? The only thing that can generate that much power is a bolt of lightning, but unfortunately, we don't know when or where a bolt of lightning is going to strike. And he turns around. We do now, and he holds up the page, right? Which is funny because continuity. I always look for these things. See how badly crumbled up the pages in one scene, and the next scene it's almost flat.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Or actually, even at the very beginning of the film, when Biff crashes the car and they come in, the candy jar is full, and the next scene, the candy jar is half empty. So I don't know who the hell's eating all this candy, but well, so yeah. But anyway, so then this is where they now have to come up with a plan. So it's like, yeah, great. This is going to happen in a week, so which means that you got to hide out. He's like, yeah, I can hide out here, and that's when Doc finds out that Marty may have screwed everything up for his timeline. Hence the reason why in his picture that his brother's first his hair was missing, and now his full head's missing. So yeah, it's hanging out in 1955 turns into restoring his family timeline.
Yeah.
So, awkwardly. So then this is where we. So then this is where we kind of jump forward to the part that we kind of messed up earlier. So, like I said, we'll fix with editing. Where he goes and talks to George about asking out Lorraine, gives him some lines to say, which to me was, again, I wouldn't say iconic by any means, but it's definitely memorable. Where he's supposed to say, "You are my destiny," but he keeps saying density.
Density. Yeah. I actually still use that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I like last year during the hockey playoffs, I kept saying it to my son that it was Edmonton's density, and he'd always look at me like, I don't think you're using the right word there. Obviously, he doesn't get the reference, but I definitely have used that a lot in my regular life.
It's funny that whenever I hear like something like that mispronounced or misused, I should say, it always makes you think of All in the Family with Archie Bunker. That's what he would always do. He'd use a big word, and you always use it wrong.
Use it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, then obviously in that scene, he's trying to chat up Lorraine. She actually seems kind of keen. She thinks he's sweet, whatever, right? So then after that, Biff again rolls in with his boys and starts walking over to George McFly. He's going to take money off of him because he's not supposed to be in the diner. And then, Marty sticks out his foot and trips him. And he's got that. Now, this is an iconic scene because then he stands up and he's getting taller and taller. And he's like a foot and a half taller than Marty. And you can just see Marty's eyes peering over his shoulder.
Yeah.
So, and then he falls for hey, what's that over there, Biff? Boom. And then this is where you have your bowling pin knockdown from all the boys that he rolls with at the front door. So yeah. So obviously we have all that stuff with the skateboard and all that shit happening. So literally.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So then what happens after that point? The shit hits.
Shit hits, and then they're getting ready Does he end up asking her to the dance? Or no, he doesn't end up. She wants to go with Marty, but he devises the plan for George to
right
come and rescue her.
Sorry, that's what it was. The next scene is at Doc's garage. He asks how it all went, and he goes, "Eh." He asked him, "Did she say yes?" And then all of a sudden, there's the knock at the door. So
yes, that's right, and that's where Doc starts to freak out a little bit that you're gonna kill your own timeline here if you're not careful.
Yeah, 100%. Get that down. The screen keeps popping up. Yeah, so I know that because there's such a height difference between Doc and Marty, and to get them in the same frame, that's why when Doc comes over, when Lorraine's there, he kind of sprawls across the back of the DeLorean so that their heads are closer to being in the same frame. They said there's a bunch of scenes where they had to kind of make kind of concessions to get them, because I think Christopher Lloyd's 6'2", and Michael J. Fox is 4'11".
That's crazy. He's a little guy.
I don't know how tall he is, but maybe 4'11" is a little on the low end, but he's probably I don't know, 5'8", whatever it is. I don't know, 5'6" maybe. So then she comes in, she asks him, so basically says yes, and then he has to go and find George, and they doing laundry in the backyard, and he comes up with this whole plan that this is what we're gonna do. So yeah, this movie is it's like one scene right after another where you can see where the story is slowly building, which is like most films, right? But you can already see in each one of them, okay, I can already see where this is going to fuck up. You can just from like the last 3 scenes, Biff shows up. Well, I have a feeling Biff's going to show up again.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is not going to go well. But yeah, so then they end up obviously going to school dance. They show up. They've got that scene where they're driving Doc's old yellow, I don't know, is it a Studebaker maybe?
Yeah.
They pull up and they start talking, and Lorraine's like, this isn't the first time I've gone parking before. And the look on Marty's face is just classic, what? And then grabs the alcohol. Goes, geez, you drink? And
Takes a good pull off it too.
so there was they did that scene several times. So there's water in the flask, but the crew swapped it with actual alcohol for one of them and didn't tell Michael J. Fox. So they pulled off. So that scene that you see with the alcohol, that's a legit scene. So
That's
they
the
actually left that one
legit.
in. Yeah, and then she lights up the cigarette. Geez, you smoke too? Jeez, Marty, you're starting to sound like my mother. And that the look on his face is like, now I'm the old the old person, right? Well, yeah. And then whenever the door opens up, like it's almost like a look of relief on Marty's face until he realizes it's not George pulling him out; it's Biff.
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't think I noticed it as much as a kid because I was 10 years old, but watching it as an adult, it's almost like the beginning of I don't want to say a rape scene, but that's the feeling that you almost get for these guys that are watching from the sideline, and he's forcing his way into the car with the girl and won't let her leave, and then tells these guys, hey, this ain't no peep show, take this guy out back, and then shuts the door.
Yeah, it gets a little dark there.
Yeah.
For a second.
And then George rolling up again, completely clueless to the fact that it's not Marty in there. And then they go through their whole thing. And
So here's a question. I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but so all the positive things that happened back here transformed to 1985, like George is now an author and all this stuff. If we're supposed to believe that all these things happen, why is Biff, the guy who almost raped their mom, friends with their family and bringing in his book, and they're all chummy with him when they go back to the future at the end of the movie? Because I have a feeling that if he's almost sexually assaulting her, they're probably not going to hang out with him 30 years later. I wouldn't think.
yeah, I could. I honestly never thought of that
awkward.
before. This is gonna sound shitty, but I'm gonna say it's because in 1955 things like that happened all the time, and they never thought much about it. Where guys were so much more aggressive to the women, and it was just the way it was.
Yeah, true.
And then you jump forward 30 years, and like, yeah, that's not appropriate. And you jump forward even more to now, like, yeah, you should have been arrested at that point. Like you're,
Yeah.
or even earlier on at the diner. So there's almost the exact same, or sorry, at the school.
Yeah.
They had the exact same thing where he's sitting behind her and he's grabbing onto her and no one's doing anything and everyone just thinks it's funny and the girls just have to put up with it, right? So
And then again at the dance part too, right? He's like forcing his way into the dance, and anyways.
yeah.
Just another weird timeline thing where I'm pretty sure you probably wouldn't hang around with your
Yeah.
sexual assaults. Anyways.
Maybe he thought he was doing him a favor after he knocked him out. I owe you. I am who I am now. You can come clean my car. Well, yeah. So, I mean, so obviously, like what we just said, so they go through this whole thing with George pulling Biff out of the car, kind of. Well, more like Biff getting out and saying, I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
It's impressive though when George goes to swing at him, and Biff just grabs onto his arm instantly, like it was nothing, and
Yeah.
twists it. And he's obviously in a lot of pain. Lorraine says, "Hey, stop that! You're breaking his arm." And she tries to jump on his back, and he just grabs on her face and shoves her. And then she lands on the ground, and then that's what George looks over at her, and that starts to infuriate him. And you can hear Biff laughing, and it's got that scene where you just see the hands just going into
Yeah.
a fist, and then Biff looking back, laughing, and then the look on George's face, the arm's coming, and then all of a sudden Biff all of a sudden realizes, he goes, huh? And then bam,
Bang.
knocks him out.
Now.
Yeah,
KO.
yeah. So then, they have their big romantic scene. He picks her up. They go into the dance. Obviously, Marty sees what happened. Like, who knew the old man had it in him, right? So then, and even fast forward, they still need to get into the, they need to get into the dance so that they can have their kiss. And all that
Kiss,
stuff.
yeah.
And obviously, we left at a small part where the lead singer gets his hand cut because when Biff's messing around with Lorraine, these guys throw Marty in the back of a car, which just happens to be the band member's car, right? So fast forwards, because the guy got his hand cut on the trunk trying to get Marty out, he can't play guitar. Marty fills in because he's, the lead guitarist for the Pinheads.
Yeah, that's right.
So then they're dancing, and again, same scenario. This guy comes up and just starts manhandling Lorraine.
That's right.
He's already a creepy looking guy. So he's the guy that plays Malachi in Children of the Corn, one of the scariest movies of the mid '80s.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he's just gonna get out of here, McFly. Throws him off to the side. She's yelling out for George to come and get her, and he's standing there like a goof, like kicking the dirt in the ground, like, "Oh man, I lost my girl." And this guy is laughing, he's going, ha, 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 ha. It was creepy as hell, like, and she's trying to get away, and he's just grabbing onto her, and then all of a sudden he finally gets his gumption, as they would have said back in the 50s, and came over and just goes, pushes the guy away. I don't know where he all of a sudden got all this strength from, but he's super strong apparently. And then takes her and kisses her, and Marty's playing gets better. Well, it was weird though that was the first spot that started to again, not spoiler alert because we're talking about the whole thing, but like we were talking about before about the brother's hair disappearing and the brother's head disappearing. So the further away from the original timeline they got, they were disappearing. So
Yeah.
the sister was gone. It was just down to Marty, and Marty's playing, and he's doing this, and his hand's disappearing in front of him. Why wouldn't it be a foot? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it have been his hair? You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah,
following
yeah.
along the same thing. But then all of a sudden, as soon as he kisses her, Marty gets flung back up, and he's just playing along, and then he wants to leave because the song's now over, and they talk him into playing one more song. He's like, let's play something that really cooks. So then they go into this Johnny B. Good song, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Chuck
Yeah.
Berry.
Yeah. Which
So this-
happens to be the guy that cut his hand was Marvin Berry, Chuck's
Right.
cousin. Now we know where Chuck Berry got all of his music from.
So this was one of my questions. So if he ripped off this song, then by the continuity standards, then Chuck Berry should have never been a rock star, or it should have been attributed to this unknown Marty or Calvin Klein that wrote this song. Anyways, it just there's a couple funny timeline things with this that it seemed like only the positive side carried on to the future, where anything negative just stayed behind.
Yeah, well, it's a great thing when you get to write whatever you want into it.
Yeah, exactly. Just make it up.
Yeah. Oh, I did think it was funny though at the end there when obviously they finished playing their Johnny B. Good song, which I guess on stage was all improvised. He actually did learn to play the guitar. It wasn't him playing though, obviously, but he
No.
learned to play just to make it look real. and they had somebody come and sing his parts for him, obviously, because it doesn't sound quite the same as it should. But so they had all that, and then he walks off the stage after he kicks over the amps, and probably wrecks half the equipment on stage because he thinks he's a 1980s rock star. Then when he meets up with them afterwards backstage, just down in the stairwell there with his mom and dad, it was such a weird little moment there where he's thanking them, blah, blah, blah. So then as he walks away, he stops and turns around and says, hey, if you end up having kids, which is awkward for two people that literally just they're in the middle of the first date. If you ever have a kid and he sets fire to the carpet, go easy on him. It's very specific. Well, so let me ask you this. If, say your kid's 17 right now, when you were 17 and you had this guy that was a pivotal point in your life, and you fast forward to now and you've got this 17-year-old son of yours, looks identical to the guy that got you together with your wife, you're not putting two and two together here, or at least saying, you look just like this guy I met back in high school.
Right? That's one thing I never understood. Like, does all this stuff not happen because he gets back to his regular timeline and it's all just forgotten? Because you're exactly right. You would never forget, especially if something as monumental as meeting your future wife and having your first dance and all that stuff. You would never forget this guy that helped you along the way. And then all of a sudden you're just, yeah. That's another one of those you can just make it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it fits the story. But yeah. I had that written down too. Like, how do you not put two and two together later on?
Yeah, because that should, like, with the way how the space-time continuum is supposed to be, that you can go back and affect, but every time you go forward, whatever you just did is going to affect your timeline.
Right.
I've seen this enough times on Big Bang Theory that all the causations or whatever is going to affect timeline, but you can't go back to the original one unless, even if you were to go back to but even before the first point, you're still going to affect that timeline. You'll never get back to that original one. But That being said, the fact that you just move forward from right there, they should remember him.
Right.
100%.
Exactly.
But maybe they did, and that's why they called him Marty, because they met this guy named Marty. Even though you look just like him. Well. All right, so let's get back to the plan to send him home. He shows up. He's got there's a whole bunch of holes in this ending.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
So he goes and sees him. He's obviously, he writes him a letter. So again, this is the continuity thing, just small little things that you might see. He's writing with what are those pens called? The ones that you dip in the ink?
Oh, like the quill pen.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah. Okay, so he's sitting there writing it, but when the camera's panned back from him, it's just on his face, you can see the pen's been dripping on the page. So there's a big ink blot right like close to the bottom. So then it shows him finishing writing, signed Marty, and then it shows the thing. There's no ink other than just whatever he wrote with, right? So, and then he folds it up right away. Like, did that ink back then dry instantly, or did you have to?
Yeah, it would have just been a complete mess.
Yeah, so obviously they go forward. They shows up at the clock tower. He's going through all this stuff, tries to talk to him. Well, listen, storm's brewing. It's getting louder. It's getting harder to hear, all this stuff, right? So he's got everything all timed out. He said, you take the DeLorean, set the hook. When that alarm goes, you hit the gas. Everything's timed out perfect. Which, by the way, another thing, sorry, just to go back, when he's showing him this whole scenario with the model back at the lab, I don't understand. Is that line that he's got that's going down there? So when he's hooking up the power, he should just be able to just clip it and just leave it.
Right.
But for some reason, he hits it, and it shows this thing like it's like the whole thing's a fuse going down, and that's what they got to time it with. So anyway, tells him all this stuff. He goes through all the stages of, I don't want to know the future, blah, blah, blah. So we're obviously missing a whole bunch of stuff here. If you haven't seen the movie, just go watch the movie.
Yeah.
So then he goes back to the starting line. He knows exactly where he's supposed to sit, and the car shuts off again. Alarm goes off. He's got no time at this point. The car's still not starting. I don't understand how he still manages to hit that thing at the exact time. Calculations were down to the second. So he's got how fast he has to drive. He's got to make sure he hits 88 miles an hour right when he hits that one spot. Again, see how far away that was compared to the parking lot in the beginning of the movie, and how long it took him to get up to 88 miles an hour. That's not happening in a parking lot. Like, what's 88 miles an hour? Like 150 kilometers an hour?
So here's a question. Was the alarm clock going off a callback to the time being slow from the start? Like he knew this was going to happen? So he actually set the alarm expecting something bad to happen, so it's actually out of sync in Marty's head, but it's in the right time because I just kind of putting those two things together, that he did that experiment with the clock being slow in the first, and then
So
it's
instead
like
of
he
it,
that it wasn't going to start, so he did set it back a little bit.
so instead of it being 25 minutes slow, it's 25 seconds slow.
Yeah.
Or fast, I guess. Fast. Yeah, fast. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just it's the drama. It's the
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you're right. He had no time, yet somehow it's still all synced up.
yeah. Here's I've always wondered too. So the scene where Doc Brown's up at the clock tower, he finally got the connection together. Which again, why is there a connection up at the top? I understand having one at the bottom.
Yeah.
But why would you have one way up at the top and then that solves this whole issue? So
Right.
So then after that's all done, he takes a wire that's looped, and it looks like he goes over the minute hand,
Yeah.
and then slides down. Like, am I missing something there, or did I
I didn't
missee
get
that?
that either.
Oh, I get there was nothing else to hang it onto, because it would have looked stupid if you had just taken the wire and gone, let's put it around this other cable.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so things you're supposed to just accept because it's a movie.
Right. That's it.
Oh.
That's it.
Yeah, so he gets down to the bottom. He finally gets it untangled from the branch or tree that fell on it, that unplugged it in the first place, and he gets them together. So I'm going to assume that 1.21 gigawatts is a ton of power.
Yeah.
The fact that he puts it together and how he doesn't die right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
No kidding.
And he just gets up and starts running around. That we did it. So, do you remember in 1955 who the mayor was then?
It was somebody Wilson, Goldie's uncle or something.
No, it was a Red something. Red.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So whenever Marty jumps Back to the Future, and he shows up in the town, he skids and he gets up and he sees the bum sitting on the bench, and he goes, "Oh, good, Red, you're still there."
Oh.
A lot of
Okay.
people always put that together as that was the old mayor. He's just a bum now, but apparently, I think it's Zemeckis. How do you say his last name?
Zemeckis?
Zemeckis, sorry. Said no, there was no relation. It just happened. They just happened to use the same name. Like, he looks like him though. Like when the car
He
goes
does.
by, he looks very similar to him. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I'll just say he's wrong. That is that is the old mayor. Although I don't think he'd be old enough, but whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then running all the way back, and then getting to the dock in time to see him get killed again. Again, you're giving yourself 10 minutes. Why wouldn't you give yourself 30 minutes just to make yourself, like, why? I get the movie. That way you get to just see it happening. And then
Yeah.
obviously the Libyans take off after 1985, Marty, and
Right.
he runs over. So, And it was kind of cool that he actually did read the letter. You can see that he taped it all back together and then wore a bulletproof vest. Good thing that those Libyans are horrible shots, because if you had to take one to the head, that vest wouldn't happen.
Curtains for Doc.
Yeah. Well, so what was your overall take of the movie then?
Still one of the best. Like I watched it myself, and I kind of want to make my kids watch it now because I think they'd actually really enjoy it. It's just a great story. Like I don't think you could come. I don't think you could change anything to make it any better.
No, I agree. I mean, like, Marty gets the truck at the end because, all of a sudden now his dad's a successful writer and all that stuff. So it is. The one thing that I did think was weird though was that the fact that the book that just came out was the book about what happened to him in 1955, which was Darth Vader comes to. So, but again, are we supposed to assume that Star Wars doesn't exist in
Yeah.
in that timeline? Because then all of a
So.
sudden he would have known about Darth Vader from Vulcan, which
Right.
both Star Trek and Star Wars didn't exist at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
And I know. I literally just thought of that now that they didn't exist. So, like, moving forward, you have this book and it's all based on science fiction that Darth Vader came down from Vulcan and was
Right.
threatening to melt your mind. So, I like it. So, yeah. So then, obviously, is that where they had the? Oh no, sorry, that was the next movie. Sorry, I was going to say, is that where they had the race with needles? Oh. So yeah, so then they're just about to take the truck for the ride, and all of a sudden you hear the DeLoreans as it comes back, and Doc gets out with this futuristic looking clothing and glasses that you can't see through, like they look like they're metal,
Yeah.
telling him that you got to come with me to the future. So obviously for the second one they would have had to reshot that whole scene, but
Yeah.
um,
Perfect
so,
setup though.
yeah. Well, and they said that they never planned on making a second one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Well, that's interesting that that's how they ended it then. Maybe
yeah.
I guess you leave it open ended just in case.
Oh, for sure. Or even just like just leave it as that. But do you remember? Do you remember it saying "to be continued"?
Yeah.
Yeah, that got added to the VHS thing afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't realize that until just recently. So I just always assumed that. I just forgot that it was in that it was in the theatrical thing, and then it must be there, but it wasn't until afterwards when they realized that they're going to be making another one. So
Oh, okay. Oh, there
yeah,
you go. I didn't know that either.
yeah. All right, so let's get to the good. Well, actually, I guess before we even do that, it did win some awards. Let's see, I got Academy Award for Best Sound, Best Effects, People's Choice Award for Fan Movie of 1986. Japan Academy Outstanding Foreign Language Film in 87. And it got nominees for Best Writing, Best Sound, Best Music for an original piece, which was Power of Love. So that stuff was all kind of cool. Yeah, Huey Lewis. All right, so if you were to recast them, let's do I don't know how in depth you actually went into it or not, but if you were to try and do it for 1985, or if you're trying to do it today.
Well,
Well,
what I did was I just picked guys based on their whole sort of resume. So I have some modern guys, and then I have some guys from sort of that time as well for certain ones. Just guys I thought who would fit in. So depending on who you want to start with.
well, let's go like Marty, Doc, Lorraine, George.
Okay. So for Marty, for the time period I had, are you familiar with Dean Cameron?
Dean Cameron, no.
So he was in ski school and summer school, kind of a slacker kind of guy. He was a good 80s, like, sort of teen sort of movie actor that I thought would be okay. But for a modern guy, if they ever made a remake, I thought Michael Cera would be a good Marty McFly because he's got that same sort of awkwardness but something you like about him. Who do you got for Marty?
Um, well, if it was back in '85, if I was to pick somebody new, Rob Lowe
Oh yeah,
and
that's a
uh,
good one.
and Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise would be good.
because I'm picturing Tom Cruise from like Taps. He's
Yeah.
super young, and he's energetic the same way how Michael J. Fox is, and he loves to run. So I mean, you could have him running everywhere, like in every
Just
other movie he's
running
got.
everything.
If it was to do right now, I think Tom Holland would be a good Marty McFly.
Yeah, he'd be good. He's got that same sort of awkward,
Yeah,
sort of twitchy spaz energy too.
exactly. Who'd you
Um,
have
for
for Doc?
for Doc, the only guy I could think that could actually pull it off, I have Robin Williams. I think he would have been a decent, because he's kind of crazy, frantic sort of guy too. And he'd add the comedic elements to being a crazy scientist. As far as a modern person, I couldn't really nail down anybody for that one. But who do you got?
Um, I never even thought of Robin Williams, but yeah, he would be like a really good pick actually. I had Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah, that would
There's
be good
a
too.
he's not crazy spastic, but he's just got that weirdness to him that he would obviously play a completely different aspect to the character, but it was just something different. And if it was now, Sam Jackson, I think would be great in that
Oh
role.
yeah, that'd be a good one. That would be hilarious, actually. It's funny you have that
Who do you
because I
got
have
for?
for.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say for Biff, I had Terry Crews just go full, just jacked bully. I think that would totally change because a lot like other than the time where Biff stands up, I didn't really find him that intimidating because he didn't really look that mean. So you
Yeah.
get a just absolutely jacked Terry Crews in a small T-shirt, so the guns are just blazing. I think that would be kind of funny. So it's funny you had Sam Jackson.
No, all I'm picturing is Terry Crews. He's yelling at him with his chest going.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. Who do I have for Biff? If it was to be recast back then, Ted McGinley.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
him
yeah,
from Nerds? And if it was now Alan Rickson, or how do you ever say it? Richardson?
yeah,
Rickson from Reacher. So,
yeah.
but
That's a good one.
that's purely just based on his size and overall thing, and just. But he also played. Um, now I'm drawing a blank on the name of the movie. He played this rich kid. Like he was still in high school, but he was nowhere close to the size that he is now. He was big for someone that's in high school, but
Yeah,
not like Biff. I mean, Biff even he looks like he's way too big to be in high school. I
yeah,
mean, he
yeah.
must have failed a lot of years. So, who'd you have for George?
For George, I had kind of a weird one. I had Ted Danson would be a good George for back then. That's just because I'm a big Cheers guy, so I always liked Ted Danson. Maybe not as awkward. Maybe he's too cool to be George McFly for back then.
Yeah.
And then for modern guy, I had a tough time with this one too. The guy who plays George has such a weird demeanor and awkwardness that it's hard to nail somebody down. But who do you got?
Well, if it was back then, Robert Carradine
Oh yeah,
again from Nerds, but he's got that same similar kind of awkward laugh. He's got a very similar look to George McFly.
yeah.
If it was now, Johnny Galecki.
Oh, that's a good one.
But
That's a good one.
I think he'd be too old to play the high school version of him though. They'd have to do a little bit of makeup work on him, I guess. But I
Yeah,
just thought he'd have that nerdiness to him. That's like he plays it so well in Big Bang Theory that you could throw him in that role. I think so.
yeah, for sure.
Who do you got for Lorraine?
Lorraine, the only one that I could think of, and this is for like young Lorraine, would be Christina Applegate. I couldn't think of a good one for older Lorraine. I guess you could use her for that too, as she's aged. But that was kind of my thought on that one.
Hmm.
How about you?
Well, if it was back then, I actually have four people that I would have chosen. So I had Phoebe Cates,
Okay, that's good.
Ali Sheedy, Kim Cattrall, and my favorite one out of the group would have been Helen Slater. I
Yeah,
think she would have been a great Lorraine. But if it
yeah,
was
that's a good
now,
call.
Sydney Sweeney.
Oh yeah, can't go wrong there.
Settle down there, Marty. So, um, Strickland.
Oh, Strickland. Yeah, that's tough. I actually have nothing for that because I thought he was perfect. I wouldn't recast that at all.
Oh,
He- he-
I wouldn't recast any of the people that we've done so far.
yeah, no,
But
no.
yeah, the one that I had for Strickland was Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah,
Uh, Not that he would play it the same way at all. It's just I was thinking about Indiana Jones and when he's the professor and the way how he was there. And
yeah,
I can just picture him walking up to Marty and just grabbing onto him and go, I see your band's playing. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously going to play completely different, but just there was. I think it'd be okay to have like a coolness to the teacher, which I think Harrison
To the
Ford
guy.
would bring. So
yeah. I agree.
yeah, I think that's all that I've got for those guys. And
Yeah, that's all I got too.
I guess the one thing I did want to kind of bring up was just like the way how the car was made, like the guy that they got. Well, one of the guys. There's obviously several guys that designed the car, but Michael Sheffy. He's actually the one that created Kit, or one of the guys that created Kit. So
Oh, okay.
so he got brought in to kind of go over things, make like the detailed stuff on the inside and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool, just the link between another classic car from the '80s that it's iconic. But I also did have here. Flip my book over. They used 7 DeLoreans, and they so there were 7 DeLoreans. The original one was left in the back of the lot. People were taking pieces off it and stuff, like just like memorabilia or whatever, right? So,
Yeah,
and then someone decided that this is a piece of Universal history, so we need to restore it. So they restored it, and so that was, I guess, the main one from the first film. So obviously, I'm talking about like all 3 films now.
yeah.
There were 7 used over the course of those 3. Some were destroyed, but there's 3 that remain. So there's one still at Universal in Florida, one at Universal in Hollywood, and one guy privately bought the third one from the third movie, but he paid $528,000 for it, with
Oh,
like
no.
fees, shipping, all this stuff, like all the stuff that had to go through like a broker or whatever. So, but that's a ton of money.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I was just at Universal in Florida, and I'm trying to remember if I saw the car or not. But anyways, that's crazy. There's
Well,
only 3 left.
unless they took it away. So like that info that was from 2015, 2014, 2015 that they said that. So it's been 10 years, so they may have removed it since
Yeah,
then.
it could be gone.
But you would think something like that would, even if they decided to remove it from the studio lot, like at Universal, whichever one, it would end up in the Smithsonian. They would take that 100%. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
For sure.
and not that it shouldn't go to a private collector, but it should be on display for people to see, like at least one, like the very first one that was made. So, but there's a whole culture now of people making the DeLoreans. Like you can go to like these shows,
Yeah.
and there's so many of them, and like the DeLorean himself actually thanked the guys that made Back to the Future because it helped kind of revive his car, right? So
Yeah, I
So-
bet. Yeah, no kidding.
I think there was. I'm not gonna try and guess or say how many were made. I remember reading it a couple days ago. Not nearly as many as I thought that there would have been, but I guess there's enough that people can still buy them and restore them, and so there's actually one couple that actually they bought one and they spent a ton of money rebuilding. Like they made everything themselves. Like it's just like a husband and wife team. I want to say he had cancer and was in remission, and that's when he decided that they were going to build it or whatever. And they joined Michael J. Fox's foundation, and they've driven that car through all 50 states. and they've raised like $250,000 in money to go towards drawing a blank. What did Fox have? I've got cerebral palsy stuck in my head.
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, yes,
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nice little tidbit at the end. So
Yeah.
all right. We'll have to pick another movie. Maybe we'll do Top Gun next or something. Another
Oh, I like
80s
that.
classic.
So my last question here for you, the scene at the end with the Chuck Berry and you know, kind of intertwining that spot in time, do you think that's what spawned later on the Forrest Gump stuff, where it's the same director and he kind of links these big moments in time with some fictional character? Like, once I realized that it's the same guy, I'm like, I wonder if this is where the idea started for Forrest Gump. Like, take an actual moment in history and link it to some guy that's not even has anything to do with it, but just make that sort of lore come through. And I thought that was pretty neat. And I wonder if that's sort of what got the brain going, right? Because throughout Forrest Gump, he's linked to all these massive events.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it just lends a little bit of fake realism.
Yeah,
if there's such a thing. But yeah, it's you're connected to actual events that have happened in the past. Oh, like you're saying with Forrest Gump, where he's taking a picture with is it Nixon?
Yeah.
And then he ends up screwing up the whole Watergate thing, and that's how the Watergate gets exposed. Yeah. That's actually really smart to do, because now you've got, like you said, like we got people talking about it now, that you're linking something to an actual event. So
Right.
maybe more people should start doing that stuff.
I think so.
All right. Well, I guess we should end it here. And
Okay, man.
thanks for doing this. We'll talk to you
Yeah,
next
no problem.
time.
Yep.